say two modern orca calves got dropped into the late Miocene South Pacific. Could they survive in a warm, prehistoric sea ruled by Megalodon and Leviathan? A blue-white crack rips the water open. Two modern orca calves just got slammed into a warm water layer. Megalodon and Leviathan haven't shown up yet, but the strange warm sea nearly kills them first. Both calves are under 13 feet. After leaving their mother and pod, their first move isn't to hunt, it's to surface side by side. They break the surface, suck in hot, wet air, then dive right back down. The thick fat from cold waters was armor against the cold. Now it's like a heavy blanket. Heat can't escape. Their hearts race faster and faster. Every tail stroke feels heavier. They quickly learn the harder they swim, the hotter they get. So they stop sprinting and dive along the seafloor slope to find cold water rising from the deep. A cool upwelling curls out from under the rocks. They finally push the overheating down, but the cold water brings something else. Schools of small fish ride the upwelling, thick like a glowing river. Both calves spread out. One drives from below, one seals off the side. They learn this from the pod, but with no adult orca to anchor it, the second the circle closes, the fish blow out through the gap. First miss. On the second try, they spread wider, but the fish suddenly drop at the last second. The smaller calf chases hard and gets a mouthful of scales. More fish in a prehistoric sea doesn't mean easier catches. These fish grew up under the shadow of Megalodon and big predatory whales. Any incomplete circle doesn't fool them. Only when the calves are starving do they switch tactics. The bigger one stops chasing fish and just makes short calls on the outside, pushing the school toward a shallow bay. The smaller calf dives under the murky water, waits for the outer fish to be forced back, then bursts up from the mud. This time the school doesn't all escape. The smell of blood brings trouble fast. Three prehistoric sharks nearly their size cut in through the murky water, grabbing the scattered fish. The bigger calf rushes to drive them off. The first shark turns away, but two others close in on the smaller one from behind. The calves almost get split apart. They don't keep chasing. They circle back to back, whipping sand at the sharks with their tails. One shark gets slapped. Its tail flips into the mud, and the other two drag the fish away. In the days after, the calves stick only to the cold water trench. They don't dare enter the open deep or stay too long in the same shallow bay. Before each hunt, the bigger one circles the outside first. The smaller one hides in a blind spot. For each breath, they surface one after another, never exposed at the same time. They start to look like a real tiny orca pod, and because of that, they finally draw the true hunter of this era. One day, a young Megalodon locks onto them from the deep. The first sign isn't the shark. It's a huge school of fish going suddenly quiet. The next second, a shadow shoots up as the Megalodon charges straight from below. Its first bite grazes the smaller calf's tail, carving 3 bloody lines into its skin, half a body length closer, and it would have bitten clean through. The calves don't turn to fight. They race straight for the shallow bay. The Megalodon is bigger and faster in a straight line. On the first chase, it nearly touches the bigger calf's belly. The bigger calf cuts hard, but one tail beat brings the shark right back. Agility alone can't shake this shark. They can only drag the chase into shallower, messier ground. In the bay stands a row of wave-flattened basalt ridges. The gaps are barely wide enough for the calves to slip through sideways. The Megalodon doesn't follow right in. It circles halfway, dives back into the murky water, and waits for them to come up for air. This shark has already learned they can't stay away from the surface. The calves wait too. The smaller one's tail is still bleeding, but it surfaces first on purpose. After breathing, it doesn't dart back into the rocks. It swims slowly along the widest channel. The Megalodon speeds up from behind, just as its huge jaws rise. The bigger calf bursts from the side. Its head slams hard behind the Megalodon's gills. This won't kill it, but it knocks the shark's head half a foot off. The Megalodon's upper jaw grazes the calf's tail, and its whole body slams into the basalt ridge. A front tooth snaps off. Its left gill rips open on the rock. For the first time, the water turns red with the prehistoric ruler's own blood. The wounded Megalodon doesn't leave. It turns and charges again. But the calves have already switched places. The bigger one flees along the rock wall. The smaller one keeps slapping the surface on the other side, making two completely different escape routes. The Megalodon picks the bleeding target. It charges into the narrowest rock path, only to find it suddenly dead ahead. The smaller calf rolls sideways through a gap at the last second. The Megalodon can only force a twist, its wounded gill scraping the rock again, tearing the whole wound wide open. The Megalodon jerks back, its tail thrashing, and finally gives up the chase in the shallows. It didn't die, but from that day on, this young Megalodon never enters that basalt bay again. Two modern calves made a prehistoric ruler pay for one bad call, with a gill ripped open on the cliff. A hunting ground lost, but the real fear is still ahead. Days later, a low rumble, almost pressing on the chest, comes from the deep. An adult Leviathan patrols along the outer sea. Its square skull is wider than both calves combined. Its teeth can crush the bones of large whales. The calves don't provoke it or come close. They press into the innermost part of the bay, and even their calls stop. The modern orca's edge is learning and teamwork, not turning every rival into prey. Against this true ancient whale king, their only real victory is staying out of its attack range. The Leviathan lingers in the outer sea a moment, grabs a mid-sized whale run down by a Megalodon, then sinks back into the deep. In that moment, the calves finally see the limits of this era. The open deep belongs to Leviathan. The deep water ambush zone belongs to Megalodon. What they can win is only the shallow bay ridges fed by cold upwelling and the narrow trench. They didn't take over the Miocene. They didn't become the new ocean rulers, but they survived, using the modern orca's most valuable things: learning, teamwork, and reading the terrain. They made a Megalodon break a tooth and bleed, and forced it to give up a hunting ground. And in front of Leviathan, they held the survival line. They shouldn't cross. After that, the two black and white shapes moved only along the cold current. Fish began to avoid the basalt bay, and young sharks no longer chased into the rock paths. The Miocene Ocean got no new king, but in that small stretch of cold water and ridges, the rules of survival were rewritten for the first time by two calves from the future. They can't win the whole era, but out of this era's jaws, they bit off a piece of survival.